Hello, everyone. How you doing? It's your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. Just letting you guys know, hey, we'll be starting with the recap very shortly, so just stay tuned. Hey, what is up, everybody? How you doing? Hopefully, my mic is on. Yeah. Well, actually, it started on. Hey, all right, cool. Hey, what is up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. Hopefully, everyone is doing wonderful. I'm gonna change this layout just a little bit. Bam, there we go. Hopefully, everyone is doing wonderful. Like I said, I'm your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. I've got Mace Valor with me. I got Miss D with me. I think Bambi's going to be joining us here before too long. She's just wrapping up on a few
No,
things.
she's not.
Okay, so she
Yeah,
decided.
she said that she doesn't think she's going to be able to.
Okay, all right. I get a chance to take messages. So awesome. Okay, scratch that. Bambi will not be joining us. At least not physically, maybe in spirit. But it is what it is. We got a show to do. Like I said, you guys already know what to do. So why don't you just go ahead and do it with us? That's right. That's right. So we are here. We're live on this Birdman Show recap edition. I don't. Oh crap! Is this the one? Let's see. Is it going to do it? No, that's not the one. Okay. Anyways, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're rocking and roll. I've still got to get the labels. There's some labels I'm still having trouble with. Anyways, but we're recapping not only Monday night's episode but last night's episode. We had a conspiracy files episode on Monday, in which why is this so slow? There we go. Oh, that's the one I was looking for. So this is the Birdman Show recap conspiracy files, which we talked about Monday, which was AI apocalypse and the dead internet. And then the Birdman Show last night, we did a let's talk about it episode in which we asked a very few scary questions. And the first question started off with, what dreams did you give up because of reality? One thing I did discover, I don't know what it looks like in your guys' studio, but the caption that's right there below the lower third. The reason why I kept jumping up and looking up, because it cuts in the studio, cuts the person in the bottom off. But in the actual video, yeah, it's a lot lower. So it actually didn't have to do the jumping or anything. So I looked like a complete idiot doing that last night. That's awesome. It is what it is. Let me do my check-ins. I gotta say what's up to my co-host. I got, like I said, Miss D, and I got Mace Valor joining me. And we know how we do. We're gentlemen first. We're gentlemen here. So ladies first. Miss D, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I am fresh off of a 5-hour trip home. So
that sounds like fun.
yeah. So Yeah, other than that, though, I'm doing all right.
Good, good. Mace, my man, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, very good. It's cold out here. We gotta. I mean, obviously not as cold as other parts of the country, so I can't complain too much. But for Vegas, it was pretty cold last night and today. So, but aside from the chill, everything's nice and dandy.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. Definitely gotta say what's up over on YouTube land. Gotta say what's up to Shiloh. Shiloh in the house. What is up? Hello, brother. How you doing? You amazing human being, you. Shiloh's also joined us over on Rumble. I've got it up and going. It's just an extra step that I didn't realize I needed to take, which is really not that big a deal. So yeah, so now now that I know what I need to do, that should be good to go from here on out. But like I said, we are here. We're inside the studio for Riverside. Of course, like I said, we're over on Rumble. So if you ever want to check us out over on Rumble, all you have to do is go to Rumble and just go type in at Birdman Show. For that, of course, for those following us on YouTube, you go over to YouTube at TBS216. And then, of course, like I said, it's always a different experience, especially if you're able to be on a laptop or a desktop to join us in studio. And all you have to do is go to riverside.fm/studio/Birdman's hyphen studio. That's riverside.fm/studio/Bird or yeah, Birdman's the Birdman with the S at the end hyphen studio. That is such a tongue twister at times. Good God Almighty. Ugh. Okay, let's do a freaking recap here, folks. Monday, we talked about. I'll put that back up there for both because I didn't separate those. No problem. We talked about AI. Specifically, we talked about the AI apocalypse, the dead internet. So, what were your guys? Because you guys joined me on that episode. What were your guys' thoughts? Actually, you guys joined me on both episodes. Now I think about it. Um, what were your thoughts on Monday's episode? We'll start with you, Miss D.
I mean, this week was actually a little heavier on all aspects than I thought it was initially going to be.
Yeah, same.
And I'm
Yeah.
not complaining because it definitely has the neurons firing. Um, but it's actually when you sit down and really start thinking about how much we are surveilled
Hmm.
in everyday life, how scary that is. Not so much for our generation, especially being Gen Xers, because for the most part, we don't really give a shit. We're in that I don't give a shit era. Um, but for our children and grandchildren,
Yeah.
that kind of digital footprint for them, that's downright scary.
Yeah. I agree. Um, Mace, what about you, brother?
Well, I've been saying this over and over and over and over and over. We are currently living in the preamble, the prologue that establishes the world state of affairs in the novel 1984 by Orwell. And it's scary. It's like, but the thing is it's like, it's not a one to one, obviously. Like, there are nuances of
Mm-hmm.
fiction that don't line up with reality. Obviously, the book was made a very, very long time ago. So we can't really say like it's an equal thing, but the themes are there. The themes are there, and yeah, we're inching very, 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 very close into that territory. It's like so yeah, like just like Dee said, a lot of it's like really concerning because yeah, part of it is like doom and gloom because it's looking towards projected future without actually like being there yet. But it's like with
Right.
a lot of things, look at where the world was 10 years ago, and 5 years before that people were like, oh, this is the direction we're going, and people were like, no, you're crazy, you're nuts, and then come to find out, here we are. And so it's
Not
like
so
that's where
crazy.
we're at right now. Everyone's like, hey, what the hell? And everyone else is like, nah, you're reading too much into it. Give it a couple years, and then people are going to be like, man, you guys were right. But and then yeah, so Monday was fun. I thought it was really good because I'm that old man on top of the mountain saying the end is nigh. As everyone looks at me like I'm crazy, but I know I'm not. And as we've seen over the course of this season, yeah, a lot of the crazy tinfoil hat stuff might actually be a little bit more factual than the reality that we've been spoon fed most of our lives. But you know,
There's that. Um, I listen. I'm with you when it comes to this. I think that too many people there's too many people on both sides. I think there's too many people that downplay it, and just don't think it's that serious or think it's that actually really real or attainable that this could be going on. And then there's other people on the other side that just they're like overly, overly. Um, and I just think that the mistake that can be made is to think that this is not something that's possible. That some of the things we talked about and the things that you see and you hear about to think that it's not possible. When you're talking about something like AI, um, I'm sorry, you need to think about all the scary parts first. I mean, I hate saying it because in every single thing that's been invented, for the most part, it's been used for just unspeakable things, just horrible things. And you might think like, well, Birdman, what are you talking about? Well, let's talk about something right now. Okay. Let's talk about the fact that I'm illuminated right now. Right. Um, Mace Valor sitting in his garage. He's got lights on him right there. Right. Miss D's got lights on her. We all got lights in there. It comes from what? Electricity. What's another thing electricity has been used for in the past? Electric chairs. So anything and everything can be turned into something that can be destructive. And you might say, oh, well, that's you're talking about, death row inmates, but it's destructive. It's something that can take life. So understand that anything that is created can also be used for something that is not its original intent. I'm pretty sure Thomas Edison was not thinking, hey, I'm going to, do the light bulb or still the plans for the light bulb or whatever. I'm going to do this and we're going to have lights. But then I think I'm also going to use the same invention to be able to take life. Like no one starts off with an invention, unless you're creating, ammo or guns and stuff like that. But no one starts off really with an invention thinking, hey, I'm going to take lives with this. No, they normally start off with saying, this is something I'm trying to do to help better mankind. But it just takes it takes the right mind to create that, but it also takes that same right mind to say, there's other ways I can use this. So I just, when I go down the path, I know some people say, oh, do you always go down a dark path when it comes to everything? I don't always go down a dark path. Trust me, the dark walks hand in hand with the light. And the more you understand that, the more things the more things tend to make sense. So yeah, that's just how I am with that. What about Monday's episode kind of really struck you as, oh my God, I didn't really think about that in that way? Mace, we'll start with you this time.
so specifically about the AI one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, all right. So I don't want to toot my own horn and just like regurgitate the things that I said, but a lot of the things that you guys are also bringing to the table does the thing where one person says something and then the other one is like, oh, wait a minute, that makes my thing make a little more sense. So kind of like how we kind of ping pong off one another. And Dee talked quite a bit about it, like the importance of it being integrated into our education system. And although it's something that like is like very important, it's just not an avenue that I've mentally gone down, right? But
right.
I feel like what she's doing is looking at the long-term effects. And we can see like what this type of technology and automation has done. Like look at the iPad kids of the world. Look at like this increase of brain rot, and that's mainly just in the entertainment sphere when it comes to children, which is why a lot of parents are like really critical about how their kids have a relationship with technology. And then over time, seeing this tech becoming more accessible is good when it's used as a proper tool, but used as an overall replacement, especially in something like education, it's kind of concerning. Like I remember being a kid and getting like a PlayStation for Christmas. Very simple. Plug it into the wall, plug it in the TV, done deal.
Yeah.
But for whatever
Yeah.
reason, my parents could not figure it out for the life of them. So naturally, I was able to do it. I grew up with the technology. And so our
Right.
kids are growing up with the technology. And as we've seen now with this integration of AI into everything, they're growing up with it. So it's kind of like, you put the frog in the pot, you put the lobster in the pot, make sure it's alive, let it slowly bubble up. You don't notice it creeping in because it just becomes cemented, and it's just a part of the way of life. And
Mm-hmm.
so now, like, integrating it into schools is problematic for us because she talked about cursive, and I was always one of those kids that, like, why does it matter? I have a calculator in my pocket. But then now um, seeing how AI is kind of like ruining a lot of critical thinking, and how this overemphasis on using technology to solve the problems, it's like you're removing the human element. And I kind of get it far more now than I ever did before. A lot of kids, like, their reading scores are down tremendously across the board. Oh, well, the computer will just tell me. The computer knows. And it's like that, if you can't read, like, look throughout the course of human history, right? Like, one way that the elite were able to enslave people is to make sure that they were uneducated. They didn't read.
Yeah.
They couldn't read the things that they were right in front of them. So yeah, so D definitely going into like how invasive it's becoming in our own education system, crippling critical thinking, making it so that, like, kids aren't like learning these things, because to them it's like, hey, like, who cares? Like, the computer knows everything. Well, you kind of need to know this stuff. When are you going to need to know this stuff? All the time. And I think part of the problem with that is it's never emphasized the critical thinking element. It's so focused on, like, well, when am I ever going to use the Pythagorean theorem in real life? If I go flip burgers at McDonald's, what does it matter? Well, I think that's kind of missing the point. The point is that you need to be educated. You need to be knowledgeable about the systems in the world that we live in. So you have this great, wonderful thing known as critical thinking, so that when you get idiots that are in positions of power that say, "Oh, the Epstein files, that means nothing," we can, like, cut through the BS and be like, "No, I can connect dots. I can critically think. I'm not just going to listen to some mouth breather." And it expands into so many other things. So I think that was one big takeaway from Monday. That was probably one of the more important things, because it deals with the most important aspect of any civilization in any part of society. That is our future. That is our children, the people that are going to replace us.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Because, I mean, for me also, that wasn't something, I mean, I thought about it, but it wasn't to that level. I wasn't thinking about it until we talked about it on Monday. And that was definitely an excellent point that Ms. D brought up, especially when it deals with education. That is dangerous. And you just said something that I still didn't even think about. So that's another great point when you talk about, how a lot of kids in school, they're still struggling with reading and comprehension because they're no longer reading or comprehending it. The program is, the computer is, it's reading for them. So therefore the part where we had to sound out a word, when we actually had to sound the word out and we had to, put the syllables together, it created a chain of thinking. So therefore, when you came to another word that was similar or something you had to do, you could sit there and say, okay, wait a minute. So this word was okay. So I gotta okay, that's about okay. I gotta do this, and you started thinking about it. So therefore, you were able to develop your vocabulary. I don't see that with the youth today, because the simple fact is they don't have that. Now, I'm not saying all. I am definitely not saying all, because I know there's those parents are out there that they see the technology that's in the schools, but they're like, nah, we're not doing that. So when your buddy gets home, we're gonna go over your homework. You're gonna read this to me. We're gonna work this out. We're gonna do that, and I think that's wonderful. But unfortunately, I watched the video earlier this week, and a guy was talking about the educational system. He said the sad part about it is the thing is that the state is actually raising your kids. It's like you got to understand something. Especially, he said, for the ones that are getting homeschooled, it's different. But the kids that are going to actual school, he said you got to understand something. 100%, the state's raising your kids. You know why? Because what does it take in order for you to raise your child? And we don't. I don't think we think about that enough. The thing that takes the most to raise your child is time. And who spends the most time with your child other than when you're like maybe home during the summer? And even then, if you're a parent that's working and they have those crazy hours, you're still not spending that much time with them. So you have to. I didn't even realize that until I saw that video, and then of course Mace, when you brought that up just now about Miss D's comment, I didn't really. I still didn't. I don't think it still sat in my mind, in my spirit, until you just said that. Miss D, what about you? What was the same question to you? What was the thing that Monday stuck out to you, like, oh man, I didn't even think about it like that?
I mean, every time we have a conversation, it doesn't matter what topic it is, I always walk away going, I didn't think of it like that before. So, I mean, I can't really pinpoint an exact part of the conversation, because, like I said, I'm always open to everything that we have conversations about. But to kind of piggyback on what you were just saying about the state raising our kids in the educational system, it's kind of sad though, because the entitlement of the educational system now thinking that they are better parents than the parents. We're seeing a lot of that. More and more calls to social services, to CPS kind of things. I've had to go head to head myself with the education system here in New Hampshire for my kids and advocate for my kids, because they didn't necessarily agree with how I wanted my children educated. And I've homeschooled both my girls at one point in time. Not long term, because teacher I am not. But I mean, you guys know, my daughter Bambi, she's homeschooling her kids because she doesn't want them going through the educational system. And I mean, she's almost doing an unschooling approach to it, but they are still being educated. They're still learning how to read and write and still be able to think on their own, but she's giving them the foundational building blocks that they need. When the school's educational system is saying, well, we don't want our children just to regurgitate the facts. They're not retaining the information if they're constantly just regurgitating the facts. Well, if you're not teaching them the facts, then what are they learning?
There's that.
And then putting them in front of a screen, how is that any different than you being up at a blackboard or a whiteboard or a smart board or whatever they're using these days?
I would say all the above, but that's not true.
No, now you have teachers that are basically glorified babysitters while somebody on a screen is teaching the class.
Right. 100%. You had your hand up there, Ace? Or Mace? God dang, Mace. Ace.
Oh yeah, you know how there's like a fire that brews within me when certain blah 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 comes up, and yeah. I homeschool my kids, and I just want to. Can I take a moment to kind of like spiel about that real quick?
Go for it.
Because I'm no teacher, am I? But it's actually not that hard. The hardest part is the time management because they're here at home all the fucking time. So one of the things that we did to address that is COVID was a huge thing that kind of like you had the distance learning and no. So out here in Vegas, a bunch of families started to do homeschooling. Well, if our kids are going to be, at home anyway, one of the things that we noticed is because the distance learning was so immediate, it was so quick, they weren't learning anything. It was basically like, hey, show up, be a part of the thing, and not learn anything, not do anything. They can't hand out coursework. Everything's done online, but the teachers barely understand how to do it because their entire system was designed to be working in class with
Yeah.
elementary school age children. That it's like they weren't prepared to do it online with computers. So yeah, no wonder it was a disaster. So, but we out here, I'll give you a little bit of an idea. So you have CCSD, which is the Clark County School District. That kind of runs all the school district stuff. And as we've seen across the country, there's been a huge push towards charter schools, which are they're public-private schools, but they're basically it's all for profit, right? And we've seen that state funds that are supposed to be for public education have been redirected towards these charter schools. And the charter schools tend to work off of like a lottery system, so not everyone can get in. And the way it is out here in Vegas is that we basically have school choice. If I wanted to take one of my kids and have them be in an elementary school on the other end of town, 40 minutes away, I, as the parent, have the ability to do that anywhere within the county. Wouldn't do that, obviously. That would be insane. But you see a lot of people doing that with the charter schools. So they'll basically, all the charter schools that are out here, they'll throw their kids in, and whichever one accepts them, they'll take them to. Now, when the charter schools first opened, they were decent. Now, obviously, when a brand new school building, a new administration, everything, when it first opens, there's going to be some rough stuff, which I get. The one that's like literally right across the street from our house had some rough patches because they were still constructing the damn thing when they opened it up because they needed to start bringing in money, right, to be able to afford to finish building it. And we've seen a lot of really sketchy financial stuff with it. Because when you first go in, brand new school, they got computers, they have supplies, like you can see that they have funding. Not long after, you start to see like, wait a minute, like where's the rest of the school being built? Oh, wait a minute, you're not building the rest of the school because you just gave raises to the people that run the thing. So the money that was allocated to finish building, you no longer have access to because that money was redistributed in the pockets of the people that are profiting from the existence of this place in the first place. That's a little weird. Hey, how come the president or the principal of this school is never there? He shows up maybe once a month. Hey, how come you have people that are on the board of these schools that don't even live in the state? Like all of these really, really weird things. Not to mention the fact that during the COVID era, we lost a lot of teachers for a lot of different reasons. But during that era, we lost a lot of teachers in CCSD. And so then you started getting teachers that had no background checks. Then you started getting teachers at the private schools that were getting arrested by the FBI because they were doing cross-state weird pedo shit, right? So that's also another cause of concern. But the reason why I ended up taking my kid, one of my kids out of the public school, and then the other one is now in, they're both homeschooled. Right. So the other one, when he aged up into being homeschooled. The other one had been to school. We pulled him out. Here's why. So Tristan, he was not feeling good, and we had taken him to the doctor. Doctors were like, hey, he's probably just got the flu or whatever. And then we brought him home. He was fine for like a day or two. And then one day he goes to school. He's not feeling good. Instead of the school calling us, or even taking him to the nurse, they took him into an empty classroom by himself, put on a movie, and left him there on his own for 5 hours. At the end of the school day, they had to come get him. He was passed out on the floor. They woke him up. They got him coherent enough so that when he came out, when we picked him up, we get home, he instantly like passes out again, and then we take him back to the hospital. Make a long story short, turns out he had a very rare disease called Lemire syndrome, where a lot of the jugular veins had blood clots and stuff, and it was really, really bad. He was in the hospital for months because of it. But it's like, it really irritated us on so many levels. Like, one, that's not the appropriate reaction for any school to do. They didn't notify us until like hours after. They sent us an email after the school day. Oh, by the way, this is what happened with Tristan, and we just kind of threw him off. It's like, what the hell? And it's like, what if he would have died? Because this was it's one of those diseases where people die from it because it's so rare. And it's just, it infuriated me so much on top of everything else. And that's kind of when you look at the big system and you're like, well, it's not directly affecting me, so the system's just broken, but it's a functional version of broken. But then you finally open your eyes to all of it the moment that it affects you personally. And I think that kind of mindset echoes and reverberates into a lot of these other things with our crumbling society, where we can see the big picture, but because individually we are not personally affected, it's very easy for us to go, is what it is. It's the world we live in. It's wrong. It's not right. It should be fixed, but hey, it just is what it is. The moment that it directly affects someone, that's when the light switch goes off and they're like, wait a minute, shit really does need to change. So yeah, the public schools out here are garbage. So homeschooling, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but we've had a much better time with it, knowing that, you know, our kids are taken care of and all that. As far as the actual coursework, a lot of the coursework for homeschooling stuff does come from very religious backgrounds. So me and the missus, we have to tailor some of our lessons, like, because we're both religious, but when it comes to education, we don't we separate it, right? We don't like try to enforce certain things into one area. Education, it should be about educating the kids, getting them ready to be in the world, and the entire world doesn't believe the same things we do. So there is that interesting element to it, but blah 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 blah. Anyway.
Well, I'll say this to go along with that, and I've seen this mistake made by a lot of quote unquote religious families, and I grew up in one. Definitely grew up in one. And I think one of the biggest mistakes you can make, whether you're Christian, Catholic, Muslim, whatever your belief is, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is completely cutting yourself off and your children off from the rest of the world, and not truly educating them about what is in the world. And I know one of the favorite Bible verses that most religious families, especially if you're talking about Christian families, I'm not speaking on any other religion because I've only grew up Christian, so I don't know about any other religion. But one of the favorite Bible quotes they like to use is come from amongst thee and separate yourself. Basically, separate yourself from the rest of the world, come into Christ, and live as he lived. And that's great, that's fine. But Jesus never lived that way when he was on earth. He put himself among the people. He knew what was going on with them. He didn't separate himself to the point where he was so holier than thou that he couldn't reach the people. And I think where a lot of Christian families, and just religious families in general, make the mistake is by not truly educating their children on what's actually out there in the world. And then they wonder why, oh my God, well, why little Johnny, little Susie? I don't know why I keep using names like that. I apologize if you have a child named Johnny or Susie. But why is my child? Let's go that way. Why is my child, as soon as they leave me, and our teachings and the safety of our home, why is it when they get out there, then they start doing all this crazy stuff? It's because you never prepared them for what was actually out there. You know what I'm saying? You never prepared them. And I think that's the biggest mistake that religious families make. On the flip side of that, that's the biggest mistake that most all families make, is that you don't prepare your child for what's outside of the walls of your home. You don't prepare your child for what's outside the walls of your protection. Children they have unlimited protection when they're at home, and you can make sure they're on the right path, but you can't be with them 24/7. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not preparing them for what's actually out there, if you're shielding them from everything, you're in a state of failing as a parent. Because once they leave you and then they go out, Or they say, you say, hey, I got a good kid. I'm gonna let my kid go out hang out with some friends. You know what I'm saying? But then they get around those friends, and then they kind of influence them to go do something else because they're like, hey, we do this stuff all the time. You don't do this stuff? Like, no. Then they think that's normal. And so now they're like, well, this is normal. That's what they were doing. Like, no, that's not what you do. You can't do that. And then you get mad at them. What I'm saying is, you need to be protective of your children, especially in today's age. Most definitely, especially in today's age. But don't be so protective that you're not going to teach them about what's going on in today's age. A lot of these kids are falling into these AI traps is because their parents don't talk to them about that stuff because they want to put it out of their minds. I've never got the whole ostrich parallel. You know how people say, well, don't bury your head in the sand like an ostrich. Ostriches don't do that. They actually don't bury their heads in the sands. They really don't. It's really weird. But I still don't know where that came from. But don't lock yourself away so much and lock your children away so much that you just don't think that if as long as I keep them here, or as long as I keep them shielded from this, then they'll be protected. But then once again, what happens when they leave from you? With today's day and age, with AI and everything like that, like I said, you gotta be careful because anybody could be anybody online. And a lot of these kids are falling in these type of traps. I mean, heck, even the video games. I was watching a guy, and I need to share that video with you guys in this conspiracy theories chat we have. There's a guy who's just a famous hacker, and he works with a lot of governments, or well, mainly our government, but he works with people on being better at keeping themselves protected from all this stuff. He showed in real time what a lot of these people are doing, especially like people who are trafficking children and stuff like that. He showed in real time what they actually did. He got on freaking Minecraft. Got on Minecraft, and I think it was Minecraft, and I think it was what's the other? Is it Roblox? What is that? What is that? Is that it? Somebody help me. I don't know. There's another game.
Yeah,
Probably.
I believe, probably Roblox.
Okay.
No, that's one that's been under scrutiny for.
Yeah, so there's definitely that one. Then he got on that in real time and started chatting with a freaking 13-year-old, and it wasn't even it. Yeah,
definitely Roblox then.
Started chatting with a 13-year-old, and it wasn't even like hey, let's I'm gonna warm it up, warm them up, what I'm saying, and get that to. No, it was like, hey, what you doing? Oh, hey, why don't you send me some pics? And then they would send a pics to like this fake account, which he didn't have. I mean, he had access to, but as soon as anything that got sent to it, it just got deleted. And he did that just to show how bad it is. And the thing is that what you have to think about how many parents will just give their child a video game or give their child a tablet and say, here, just go do this. Get out of my face. Just go do this. And they get on these types of games and they have no idea what the heck is going on with that. And that's what scares me the most, because with AI and this stuff, that if the right person, I'm saying, I say the right person, mainly it's the wrong person, gets a hold of these types of tools, they can create like a whole network of this kind of crap, which makes this stuff a lot easier for them to do the side of stuff they're doing. And we're thinking how bad the Epstein files and stuff is. The stuff that's being created now, that is being put into use, makes the Epstein file look like they're just taking names for a PTA meeting. That actually probably was the wrong analysis for that too. That involves children too. So scratch that. But you get what I'm saying.
It's all connected. Yes, the Roblox issue has a direct connection. I'm just going to leave it there. But yes, there's a reason why nothing's been done about it.
Oh God! See, I'm sitting here I'm throwing out examples, or I'm thinking examples, and I'm like, I didn't freak it. Maybe I am going to be like an ostrich and bury my head in the sand. Anyways, for the love of God, we need to take a commercial break because I can't deal with this. I can't do this. So we're going to take a real quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get more into this. I need to redo this video, but I am still going to play it anyways. I need to redo it because there was an audio issue, but I need to go ahead and play it anyways because I need to kind of sneak this one in. So we'll be right back after this. Maybe. Perhaps. Why is it not playing? Am I just talking to myself here? What's going on here? Okay, I'll choose something else then. For the love of God. Um, Hey everybody, how you doing? It is your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show, and of course that's Ace over there, and you already know what to do, so go ahead and do it with us. That is right. We are just here real quick to remind everybody that we, the Birdman Show, is back with Riverside.fm with some more exciting news about how you can join and be a part of the show. Ace, tell them a little bit about what we got.
Well, there's two different ways that you can join the show. We have an app. You can download the app and join that way. Or if you want to be interactive with the Birdman Show, follow this link right here. Join the web page, and we can actually pull you in as a live guest. If you have a comment that we deem needs more attention, we'll pull you in, and we will discuss that face to face.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love it. Like I said, it's a live call-in feature that you can only get on the Riverside Studio app, within the web browser of that by going to this link that's you see down there at the bottom of the screen. And the cool thing about it, any link that we use in the studio, with that little link chain right there, you can click on it and it'll take you right to the page. So definitely come join us. And consider joining us with becoming a live studio audience member, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time, right here on Riverside and on our YouTube channel, as we talk about Operation Northwoods. If you like conspiracies, you're gonna love this one. So for Ace, I'm the Birdman. We'll see you guys this Wednesday. Birdman Show out. Yeah, there's so many things wrong with that ad. Yeah, off the bat, number one, like I said, the audio. Number two, the YouTube channel has changed. So yeah, I definitely need to redo that. But I wanted to sneak it in there regardless because of trying to get people to help people understand how to be able to actually join. And like I said, I'm really pushing it mainly because of the simple fact is of the studio audience. And I don't know why I keep saying live studio audience because it like almost implies that sometimes we have dead studio audiences or something. So join the studio audience live, join the show live in the audience, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna have to reword that. That just messes me up. But yes, we're pushing it because, like I said, with this one on the within the Riverside app, we have the ability to actually have a studio audience, to where you can join live, and then even join the conversation. You can request a call in. What you do is you type your question in first, and then you're able to actually join. So it's actually pretty cool, and I really do enjoy it. So we're kind of pushing with that now. Let's move forward. Okay, let's we're gonna spend the next 13 minutes talking about the Monday's episode, and then we're gonna shift gears and give equal time to last night's episode. Now, we had, and I don't have my notes in front of me with that one. What was another conspiracy? What was another conspiracy theory, or just point in general that we brought up Monday, that you might want to hit on a little bit more tonight? We'll start with you, Miss D.
I cannot agree with Mace anymore, and I've said it time and time again. Every episode we have done, everything is become a tangle of everything. Um, it, it's all connected, and all roads lead to the Epstein files. I cannot wait till next season because I really want to dedicate some time to it. Like I am biting at the bit. I for the longest time seriously like tried to avoid it, and now I can't. And then you throw the octopus murders on top of it, and it's just yes.
I apologize.
you
I
you've
apologize. I will
you've
take
done
the hit for
something to
that.
the chemistry of my brain.
Yeah, I'll take the hit for the octopus murders. I do apologize for that, but I'm not going to be the only one that's going to be suffering from that. So there's that.
But yeah, it's all connected. Everything is connected. It's you know it's just the way we're going, and because of it, and I said this on Monday, we are going to become Atlantis.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. It's man, I no Mace. What do you got?
Oh, real quick, yeah. The thing about people calling in, please, for the love of God, someone do it. I'm just excited to see how it actually functions as like a testing thing.
Okay.
But aside from that, yeah. So, to piggyback on what Dee said about everything's going to the Epstein files, y'all hear about Prince Andrew today?
Oh God.
I heard that he was released from um, the police custody or whatever, but that's all I've heard because I was driving, so I
So
haven't had a
yeah,
chance to dive into it.
yeah, he did get picked up, but here's the thing that people aren't paying attention to. People are thinking that this is a victory. It's not, and I'm going to very specifically say why. You got to see what people do, see their actions, and see their words. Right? He didn't get picked up because of the Virginia Defray stuff. He got picked up because of a governmental technicality of him basically sharing state trade secrets with Epstein. That's what the powers that be in the UK decided to go after him for. Once that information from the files came to light, then their government decided to do something. Not with any of like the immoral, weird sex stuff, but the moment that like he had some sort of weird governmental position that was a conflict of interest where he was sharing state secrets with someone outside of their nation, that was a problem. And I think people need to like use discernment. They need to pay attention to like oh yeah, like one of the guys that's been like talked about for years involved in this is finally seeing. No, pay attention. He's not getting taken in for something that they're not looking at him for the horrible moral things that he's done, because that's been known about for years. They're going after him for completely different reasons because another subsection of an elite class is being affected, which would be Parliament. So they don't care when us, the cattle, when we're affected, but when there's issues within the higher tiers of society, then they'll take some sort of action against it.
You can actually kind of like it's almost like a time machine situation because look what they picked up Al Capone on. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tax evasion.
he was
Yeah.
put away for tax evasion, not for the horrible things he did in the mob. You know, and I mean, yeah, different scenarios, but it's kind of along that same line.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was one of the things I was thinking too. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. That they go after these people for different reasons than what they should really be in trouble for. And then going into the thing about talking about the things that we had talked about Monday. Um, it's every time Epstein comes up, my mind just goes. So the AI stuff.
Sorry.
We talked about education and the importance of that. One of the other things there was something I brought up. I'm trying to remember. it probably doesn't matter. We're all screwed anyway, but whatever. Anyway.
You're not entirely wrong. I'm sorry, that was weird. Oh, what the heck? When they start doing that? Anyways, oh yeah, sorry about the chat. Because I had actually jumped in the studio as an audience member on my laptop. So that's when I typed in "Hello, everyone." So yeah, um, but yeah, there's a lot of crazy. I feel you on that. I feel you on that, Monty. Or I'm sorry, Mace. I'm trying to keep to everybody's online persona.
You can
I
call me
feel.
whatever.
I know, but I still try to as much as possible. Um, but yeah, I get the same way whenever this stuff goes because I'm the same way when it comes to, like I said, when we start talking about Epstein, we start talking about the octopus murder because everything is just connected. And then I'm also the same way when it comes to the whole thing with the Charlie Kirk assassination. Um, there's just and the fact that a lot of that could be connected as well, um, if not all of it. It's just having such a tough time with it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break from that so I can show you this. So yes, their base, and so I will grant you that um request. So this is gonna be a little weird here for a sec. Possibly. Um, it's gonna be just a slight weird thing. What the heck? This is being super duper weird. What? Oh. I was like, what? Perhaps? I don't know. This is weird. Why is it not? It, I mean, who did I ask that question to first? I'm sorry. I got sidetracked on something else. Um, Misty, what was your follow up? Do you have a rebuttal to that or a follow up to that?
If my
Or
phone
just
doesn't fall down.
throw your camera down. That's fine too. As I'm trying to work
Actually,
on this.
with what Mace was talking about, I don't remember if we were talking about it while we were while we were live or if it was after the fact. But when we were talking about was it Project Blue Beam?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
we talked about
Yeah,
it live and after the fact.
right. So, and I know I had asked you if you had known anything about Chase Hughes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, but when we're there's Bambi.
There
Um,
she is.
but I was thinking about that with the whole thing with the AI and how you add in that kind of manipulation and what it can do to society as a whole. Um, and then things like the Epstein file, and that's the other thing too that I'm like really fighting with the Epstein files, and trying to wrap my brain around it is one for them to release what was it 3 million pages of these files. That everything that was like redacted and all of that, it went through like a ChatGPT program kind of thing, an AI thing,
Mm-hmm.
because there are things in there that are categorized very strange.
Yeah.
So and things are taken out of context, things aren't put in the right context at all. Um so when they release something like that at 300 million or 3 million, whatever, and it's so muddled, is it to desensitize us to the weird shit that's happening while some of the real big stuff is actually going on behind the shadows? I'm in a brain fog with it all.
Well, join the brain fog. It's like the mist right
real
now.
Quick. Yeah, on the topic, the one thing I forgot to mention when I did my rough description of Bluebeam, it also includes quote unquote fake alien invasion. And the reason why that part is really important to the grand scope of Project Bluebeam is because that has to be the display that upsets the world that allows the rest to kind of coalesce, right? And I've said this before, look at where the money's going. We have drone technology, we have hologram technology, we have audio, visual, all kinds of crazy stuff that we can't even contemplate, right? So we have all the tech for these things. Where's all the money going? Like out here, for example, in Vegas, the police department got millions upon millions of dollars for drone technology. So that's for surveillance, but we also have the data centers. The data centers using AI. What uses the most in the data centers? Well, that's generative AI. So take the generative AI with the drones and the hologram technology, integrate that with the data centers of creating generative AI to display images before us. Like once again, ties back into Charlie Kirk, because I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a guy that was telling a reporter what he saw, and a group of men came and removed him because he was telling something very different from what everyone else saw. And even I saw it in the official videos that were released. There was a chair that was placed on a table that phased through the table. That's a little weird, right? But where have we seen things like this in generative AI and its hallucinations, where it can't map out 3D space very well? And so all of this in tandem, it would be reasonable to think that they could use this crazy hologram light show to display an alien invasion. But they put aliens in our head all of our lives. They want us constantly thinking of the possibility of alien invasions. Go on Twitter now. Trump is talking about how Obama leaked information about aliens. This is something that whenever push comes to shove, they bring up aliens. They bring up aliens. Why? Because that's part of the end all plan. They are conditioning us so that when we do look up in the sky and see weird, crazy nonsense happening, oh, wait a minute, that's aliens, because I've been indoctrinated my entire life to believe that that's what it is. I'm not saying that aliens aren't real, but the description of what they are, that's the falsity. Yes, aliens are real, but what they are is not what they are. Interdimensional beings, demonic forces, yada, yada, yada. That's more in line with what they actually are. Look through the course of human history. The secular world has been stripping away any sense of spirituality. So, and that's even for religion. You look at Christianity, old school, back in the day, old, before the Catholic Church ripped it apart, was filled with spiritual stuff. But then over time, they removed the spiritual nature of things. But you look at like Islam, for example, where they're very rigor. You never change the text. They have all kinds of crazy, demonic, cool, weird jinn and all sorts of spiritual stuff in there because they're all about maintaining it. You look at all the old pagan religions from all over the world, and they maintain the sense of spirituality that is being removed from the public consciousness. But anyway, there I go. Blah.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, that's I get it. I'm right there with you. I'm sorry, I was trying to get this to work. It's acting really weird. So I'm not gonna worry about it right now.
I mean, just to add on to that too, though, when we're talking with the AI, it's getting harder and harder to tell the difference between AI and reality, because one, it's the technology is getting so much better and better and better. We're being so desensitized to everything. So those lines between what is actually AI versus reality is so blurred that, telling the difference, you can't tell the difference. So how do you teach that to the next generation? the difference. I mean, how many times? I mean, they just had a thing, I know, in my state, in like the schools and stuff, or I think I even saw something on the national news, other places, where they've made deep fakes in the school district illegal. I mean, they should be illegal anyway, because, isn't that like false advertisement?
I mean, you would think, yeah.
I mean, and it's not like you're talking CGI
No.
to somebody who is not really trained to see the tiniest little, pixel difference, or doesn't understand like the difference of the cadence of voice patterns. They may not pick up on that.
Mm-mm. No, you're 100% right. And like I said, and I know we talk about this. I know it's kind of a fun thing to talk about when we talk about this stuff. But when we talk about movies that have come out with all this stuff in it, the fact that they're able to remove people. I mean, the fact that you have that technology in your hand, to where you have the magic eraser, and you can take a picture and you can remove somebody from a picture. Now, people think, well, and it's funny, the same people that would think that, oh my God, the government wouldn't do that, or they wouldn't do that, use that technology for that, but yet still they give you that technology in the palm of your hand,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna tell me that they're giving you that technology, showing you to your face, like when I say it's always in your face,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully you're not going to a Chippendales. Anyways, but it's always in your face. Yeah, Miss D.
All I can think of is the Patrick Swayze, Chris Farley, Chippendale scene.
I knew I was gonna get somebody. I was hoping I'd get somebody, for crying out loud. God, people, come on! I'm working hard over here. Yeah, love it. Anyways, but it's always in your face. Like, seriously, like, you've got to understand that this stuff is just not. It's not just they're just coming up with this like, oh, well, let's try this. Now this stuff, man, this stuff has been around for far too long. And I don't think people just don't realize exactly what's going on. Like I said, the technology is already there. You can erase somebody. You can completely erase somebody from a picture. And think about that when it comes to, like, say somebody's taking pictures, and they end up catching something that they can report to the police. And let's say somebody who doesn't want that out gets that and says, "Oh, no, you don't. I'll just go ahead and remove the suspect or remove the victim." You know what I'm saying? And somebody says, "Well, they say you know this person." It's like, "Well, I don't have any pictures." They say you guys are taking pictures. What? I'm taking no pictures with them. Hey, here's all my pictures. Did you see anybody in there? Like, it's just, I keep trying to, man. I'm not trying to be like freaking Mel Gibson in Conspiracy Theory. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like that, because I don't want to have to move to New York and then drive a cab around and start talking about all this stuff that's going on. But good God Almighty.
But flip that too, Tim, though. Flip that. Because, yeah, they can take things out, but they can also put things in.
Yeah. Once again, hopefully you're not in Chippendale's thing when they're saying that. Okay, let's shift gears. I think we've been shifting gears enough already, so we're shift again. All right, let's talk about last night's episode. Now, last night's episode was definitely, I mean, I had a suspicion of how it could go. Last night's episode was a let's talk about it episode, in which, if you've never seen it, for those who might be watching this later, or jumping in, it's an episode series where I just ask a question. I ask a question, and we kind of see where that question goes by the responses from my co-hosts, as well as from audience interaction. And so far, since we've started doing this has been a very interesting series. Now, Mace, this was your first experience with the Let's Talk About It episode. First, let me get your overall opinion of your experience with that episode.
Yeah, for me, it was like, overdue. It was very necessary, and not so much like joining that particular show, but the nature of that particular episode, the subject matter that we talked about. Because here's the thing, man, I'm a lot to deal with, like even in small doses, and so for me, I always kind of have to remember I have to measure myself and kind of tone it down. So being involved in something that was less tinfoil hatting, less speculation, less doom and gloom of the world around us, it felt very connective. It was intimate in the way to where we could discuss these heartfelt ideas and notions of our perceptions of reality, looking back on the past and kind of where we're going. Learning like deeper things about just the people that are involved in the show. I thought that was an amazing breath of fresh air.
Awesome. That I like your explanation of that. That is actually really a really good explanation and connection. Because for everybody, if everybody's going to be different, the experience is going to be different. What you get out of it is going to be different. But I really loved your take on that, Ms. D. This was our third time or third time, second time, third time.
It was our third time, second time with me actually being a co-host.
Okay, yeah. So third time, because the first time I did it, I just wasn't doing anything. I decided to go live, and I said, here we're gonna go live. We're gonna do this, and so I actually started, and I was just on there by myself, and I was just taking some time, just to connect, because I think it was on one of our off weeks for the actual Birdman show. So I think it was one of the 2 weeks that we were off. So I was like, I'll just get on, just kind of stay connected with everybody, and I decided to do that. And that episode was wow. I thought it was only going to be for about 30, 45 minutes. That was 2 hours. And it was just from the audience interaction. And then the second one, I don't even remember which one that one was, but it was similar. It was similar in nature as far as how it kind of took off.
Yeah, I think the first one was what was something that you could have gone your whole life not knowing, or something along that line.
That was the second one. Now I remember. So the second one was what was the one thing you learned that you could have done, you could have gone the rest of your life without knowing? Yeah. I remember that now because of the one I shared. Oh God. Still gives me freaking nightmares. You ever heard the medical term pink sock? There, Mace.
Don't even want to Google that.
You definitely do not want to Google that.
A color associated with a noun is never a good thing.
No, you definitely don't want it. I'm not going into it now. The first one, I remember what the first one was. So the first one was, what was a promise you made to yourself at an early age that you later broke when you got older? So that one was the one that really took off in a different. The second one was just all kinds of weird. I really do not want to revisit it. Matter of fact, it pops up every once in a while on my YouTube stuff, and I just skip over it. That's one episode I will not rewatch. So this third one, which I like I said, I figured it was gonna go one or two ways, and actually went both ways. A lot like one of my, you know what? Not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep my personal life out of that. Gonna say a lot like one of my exes. But anyways, what was your overall? And I'll post the question again here in a second. But what was your overall assessment of last night's episode, there, Miss D?
All right, Tim, you were just like breaking up wicked bad on my end. I don't know if it was like that.
I don't know.
Across the board.
What was your overall assessment of last night's episode?
Well, I love the Let's Talk About It series because it does allow some questions that aren't, you can't necessarily research. It's these are deep questions that you have to answer yourself. And I love doing those, but I was not I'm not expecting to be as vulnerable and dig as deep as I did last night, but I love it at the same time because it's taken me almost 2 decades to allow that kind of reality uh, to kind of like spill out. Um, I mean, I've always been honest with my journey, and to get other people's viewpoints on how they've dealt with not necessarily similar situations, but similar emotional impact. It builds us as a community and as our tribe.
Yeah.
And that for me, that kind of networking is super important.
I
And
agree.
so I enjoy those conversations.
Yeah, I like it because a combination of what both of you said, and the main thing is it's a change of pace. It allows us to connect on a different level. I think we connect beautifully on the shows that we do, whether it's Conspiracy Files, whether it's the Birdman Show, podcast, anything that we normally do that we get a chance to get together. I think we always connect, but this series in particular allows us to connect on a different level, a different plane of existence, because it does allow for there to be the humor part in it. You know what I'm saying? Where you can be, you can have fun with it, you can laugh, but then also it can hit you in a way that it makes you reflect, and do a lot of self reflection, and think. I really like it for that. That I didn't when I originally started it. It wasn't. That was not. I'm not gonna say that wasn't my intent. I had no idea what my intent was with it. I'll be honest with you. I really didn't know what the intent of what was going to happen with it. But I see how it's going now and where it's going. So I do. I really definitely enjoy the series. So last night's question started off with this: what dreams did you give up because of reality? I'll let that stay up there for a little bit. But yeah, that was last night's question that we started off with. And when I say start off with, I mean that because I ended up asking a few other questions as well that really, I think, hit all of us at different times in different ways, and then a few times in the exact same way. So I'm gonna ask you this, Mace. Looking back at that question, I'll put it back up there again. Looking back at that question and how we started off last night's episode, uh, what are your thoughts reflecting on this question and how we started?
Yeah, my initial takeaway was like reflecting back on my own life. A lot of the dreams that I would pursue, the goals and ambitions I had, they eventually came around. Just not in the ways I was expecting, and it was, the lessons of life and experiences as we go on that, kind of not just humble you, but you also kind of grow and your priorities shift. And yeah, that was like the big thing for me. Like as you speak things out loud and like, it leads to one another and things start making a little bit more sense as you verbalize it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big thing for me was, like admitting that like, yeah, there were times in my life where there are things, lofty ambitions that I had, and I had a very particular vision for it. But, you know, over time, we live in reality, and there's certain choices we have to make that affect us down the road, but they're decisions that need to be made in the here and now. Like I always been writing, but it's hard to like write meaningfully when you're working at the DFAC from the ass crack of dawn till the middle of the night. So it's like,
Right.
you gotta put those dreams and ambitions aside, and then even like things like going to college, and it's like, hey, I'm in college, this is great, but I'm not making any money, and I got another kid on the way, so I got to make a choice here. Do I figure this out while still trying to go to school, or do I do like the thing that I need to do and take care of my family in the here and now? And then kind of like letting life just, find time where it does. And especially in my younger years, I was very impatient. And that's like for a lot of us. We want what we want and we want it now.
100%.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
I need a structure settlement and I need it now. I love those commercials. Best marketing decision ever. But anyways, Ms. D, same question to you.
Yes. You want to repeat the question?
Yeah, I thought I was gonna have to.
My
Anyways,
brain hurt.
no, I know, I get it. Trust me, I get it. And I'll help you out by doing the same thing I did for good old Mace Valor. Thinking about looking at this question again and thinking about it, especially how we started the episode off last night. What is your internal reflection on this question? As we started it off with the episode last night.
I don't really have the answer.
And that's an answer.
Yeah.
That's an answer.
Yeah, I mean, just doing the deep dives and with the whole internal take on it. You guys know that I like to use metaphors and visual kind of things. When I look at my journey of life, and I explain this to people when they're like, well, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Things weren't working this way, that way, whatever. Look at your life as that picture that you want, and then break it into a bunch of jigsaw puzzle pieces. We can take all of those pieces and start putting it together. And when things don't fit, we can take a pair of scissors and we can start cutting away at the pieces so they fit. Yeah, they fit. But then when you step back and you look at this puzzle, the picture is now very distorted.
Mm-hmm.
If we, I say this personally, if we stop looking at a picture as a goal and just enjoy the journey, that picture becomes the accomplishment versus the goal. And then you don't have to worry about trying to get pieces to fit that don't fit together.
I like that for somebody who didn't have an answer. I will take that a step further. Because you hear people say, life's a journey. Enjoy the ride. I think a lot of where we tend to get off the rails is that we might have a general outline or general picture of ourselves. Take for example myself and Mace. We both told a somewhat similar story of our childhood, what we wanted to be growing up, and we both eventually got to the same conclusion of that. Well, not a conclusion, but the same point of that dream that we had for ourselves. It just was a little bit later in life. For that, I think where we start to get a little bit out of whack with a lot of this stuff is that we tend to look at other people. We start looking at, okay, look at their lives, or maybe we have somebody who's a close friend or even sometimes family, and we're sitting there saying, man, well, they're doing this or they're doing that, and they're maybe like a few years older or a few years younger than me, or we're the same age, and they seem like they're further in life than I am, and we sit there and say, well, I just don't have the same, and that's what I hate hearing this excuse, and that's exactly what it is. I don't have the same opportunities as someone else. And you've heard me say this many times before. We all have opportunities. They may not look the same, they may not be the same as everyone else's, but you always have the opportunity. You may have to work a little bit harder than somebody else, but you have the opportunity. To sit there and say you don't have the opportunities, and most of the time it's not that I don't have the opportunities, I don't have the same opportunities as someone else. No, you don't have the same. You're 100% right. You don't have the same opportunities as everybody else, because you're not everybody else. Everybody else is not you. Everybody else doesn't have the we look at different people and their lives and stuff like that. Not everybody has parents that that were billionaires or millionaires or whatever, and that they were able to unlock doors for them before they even looked for that door. Saying all they had to do was say, oh, this is the direction I'm going to go. Guess what? The whole entire hallway, the whole entire building is open to you. Go do what you want to do. Saying? Others are like, man, first of all, I got to get the building material. Then I got to go get tools. Then I got to get the foundation for it. Then I got to pour the concrete. I got to build this entire complex before I can go get the one key to open the first door. And then now you're talking about all the other doors I have to try to open myself. It's different. It's a different process for everybody. And I think sometimes, and I know I can speak for myself, sometimes I get lost in that because I can see where I want to be, and I know I have what it takes to get there, but sometimes in order to get there, there's the one thing I don't have. And that may be in this case, it may be the financial part. In this case, it may be the so-called educational part where I need some type of certification in order for somebody to say, hey, yeah, we're going to back you on this, and that. Whatever it may be, I may know that I can do it, but if I don't have that opportunity for the other parts to put, like you just put the pieces of that puzzle together, and I just start taking pieces and trying to jam them in there, or like you say, take some scissors and cut it to where it fits in there. Now the picture is completely jacked up, completely distorted. And what happens? I end up having to start over. Or I have to go get a new puzzle. So when I think about that question, it hits me in a way that I didn't realize majority of my life growing up until I started really looking at my life was a fantasy. It was exactly what that question says. What dreams? It was a dream. And what happens with dreams? You wake up and you face reality. It's okay to have dreams. You should dream. You should always dream. You should aspire to dream. Great men and great women always dream big. They dream. They aspire to be something more. They aspire to do something more. You should always have that. But never let your dream get so big that you don't fit it in with reality. They need to match. Your dreams and reality have got to match. So if you're dreaming that one day I want to, I'll try to keep it simple. One day I want to be a manager at McDonald's. McDonald's, if you want to sponsor the Birdman show, please get at me by going to, I'm playing. No, seriously. But anyways, as long as the ice cream machine's working. But but
luck with that.
I know, right? But I'm keeping it simple. I'm keeping it simple in this aspect, but you can apply it to anything. I want to be the manager of McDonald's, okay? But I'm coming in an entry level position, okay? So I'm coming in an entry level position. Maybe I'm sweeping them off on the floors, okay? I need to make sure that I'm doing that the best I can. You know what I'm saying? Showing that I'm doing I'm the best floor sweeper and mopper that you have in this company. I'm viable to you. Now that you've seen that, now I've shown that, okay, no, you know what? We're going to put you on fries. Oh, snap. Let me get them the fries, boy. A little less salt on mine, please, though. Good God almighty, y'all killing me. That's probably why I got high blood pressure as it is. But now I'm on fries. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing that. Now I'm the best. Hey, how many fries you need? Bam. Small, medium, large, bam, bam, bam. I'm pumping them out, pumping out them fries. Bam, bam, bam. Next year they say, man, you moving up. Now I'm flipping burgers. I'm putting the sandwiches together. You know what I'm saying? You got the Big Mac. I got your freaking quarter pounder with cheese. You know what I'm saying? I'm throwing the McDoubles out. I'm doing everything. I am building my way up because I'm putting in that time. I have to say, okay, I'm hoping nobody's aspiring to be a manager at McDonald's. Hoping you're aspiring to be something, a little bit higher than that. Nothing wrong with being a manager at McDonald's. There's absolutely nothing wrong. And they actually make pretty darn good money. Now that I say that. But at the same time, I'm using that example because I hate saying it, for a lot of people, that's more of an attainable goal than some other goals or dreams. And the thing is, those things are popping up everywhere. So it's not like it's a dying business, which still has me wondering. We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. But it's an easier thing to grasp because you see McDonald's everywhere, right? But you don't see the big companies everywhere. You don't see like the multi-billion-dollar corporations and stuff like. You don't see them everywhere because they're mainly their headquarters are somewhere else. But what I'm saying is, you can use that same model for anything, whether it's McDonald's, whether it's at the current job you're working. If you're a teacher, and I know we talked a lot about the educational system in the last segment when it came to AI. And one thing I want to double back with that, I love all my teachers out there. I worked in the school system. Our teachers are some of the hardest working people. Some of our teachers are some of the hardest working people in this country because they are tasked with trying to educate our children. And a lot of them don't believe in the education that they're having to teach. And and that's very difficult, knowing that you're teaching something that you don't really believe in, because you're like, wait a minute, this is not anything these kids are really dealing with. They're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis out in the real world. You know how many teachers I ran into that were just, flabbergasted when they found out that they were taking cursive out in schools. Cursive handwriting. They were taking the cursive handwriting. They're like, how are these kids going to be able to sign any kind of important document? You know how easy it's going to become for somebody to forge their signature now? Because they don't have a signature. So I get it, but understand there's no real good answer for any of this stuff. When I look at that question, I started now looking at it as, man, what was my real reality? And when I look at dreams, I'm like, okay, first of all, dreams are dreams. It's great. I can build from a dream, but I can't solely base my reality off my dreams. If I want something, I got to actually put the work in to do it. Plain and simple. Now, I'm going to do something to you guys you're probably not going to like. I'm going to do it anyways. Why? It's my damn show.
You can.
I'm going to ask you another question. This one involves a time machine this time. So, let me ask you this question.
I get to be skinny again.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to ask you this question, okay? You ready for it? Here's your question. This goes for all you out there, too. I don't know why I'm talking some country right now. It just sounds like a good thing to do right about now. Yeehaw. If you could fire up a time machine and go back to visit you at age 10 or 12, what would that kid want to be when they grew up? No judgment, just a raw, unfiltered childhood answer. I'm going to let you think about it for a second. I'm going to read it again, and then we're going to take a quick commercial break. Okay? So the question once again is, if you could fire up a time machine and go back to visit you at age 10 or 12, in between, whatever, what would that kid want to be when they grew up? No judgment, just a raw, unfiltered childhood answer. And with that, we'll be alive, says Shiloh. I think that was Shiloh who said that. Well, I mean, you're older than 10 now, so hopefully that worked out for you. Shiloh, you had me worried there for everybody. I had to think about that for a second. Like, wait a minute. Yeah, okay. Anyways, we'll be right back after this. We really got to check on Shiloh. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show, here to let you know that we are now
powered by Riverside FM.
That is right. The Birdman Show is back on Riverside FM with one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Riverside has amazing editing tools and an unmatched community of experts that will help you take your podcast to the next level. Ace wants to tell them a little bit more.
With Riverside, what you get is a superior listening experience with crystal clear audio. You don't have to worry about the audio drift. And connectivity, it's easy and simple. It's not a problem. Riverside is a simple, powerful podcast studio. You can easily get down to making a great podcast of your own.
That's right. So if you want to start your free account, just head on over to Riverside.fm and tell them that Ace
And the Birdman
sent you by. We'll see you guys in the clouds. What is up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. I got Miss D with me. I got Mace Valor with me somewhere. But anyways, this is the Birdman Show recap. You guys already know what to do, so why don't you go ahead and do it with us? That is right. We're back on this recap edition of the Birdman Show. We're talking about Monday's episode, Conspiracy Files, where we talked about AI, the devilishness of the AI. And then we're also talking about last night's episode, where we did a Let's Talk About It, another Let's Talk About It episode in that series. And we asked ourselves, what dreams did you give up because of reality? So far, how are you holding up with this, Miss D?
So far, so good. I mean, like I said, I'm wondering if I was lobotomized at some point because things are a bit mushy, but no, I'm doing good.
Good. I don't know if Mace had to step out for a second, but while we're waiting on him, I do that makes more sense, Shiloh. I definitely understand that 100%. So that definitely makes sense. So yeah, I'm with you there, brother. Mace Valor, how the heck are you doing? How are you doing so far with what we got going on?
I'm good. Very good.
Well, good.
The misses had come in like the moment that the commercial cut, so I was delayed a little bit. But here I am.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You good. You look good. Here I am. Okay. Anyways, so when we left for break, I asked a question, and we're gonna get into it. Definitely, anybody out there in the audience, you are definitely more than welcome to answer that question as well. In doing so, like I said, if you want to jump in the studio, you can do that by simply going to riverside.fm/studio/birdmans -studio. That's riverside.fm/studio/birdmans, Birdman with the S at the end, -studio. And then, of course, for those watching us on YouTube and even on Rumble, definitely feel free to answer this question in the comments. Question was, if you could fire up a time machine and go back and visit you at age 10 or 12, what did that kid want to be when they grew up? No judgment, just a raw, unfiltered childhood answer. I'm gonna let you go first, just because of the hourglass.
No. Oh, I don't have a long one. No.
Oh, okay.
That was unrelated. I just looked over and saw that it was empty, and I was like, oh, screw it. Anyway, no, my answer, short and sweet, is I would have wanted to be a writer, writing stories in video games. Specifically video games over books, but here we are now. So it's still the same shit. But
just a little earlier.
Yeah.
Speed up the timeline a little bit there. Come on, kid, get your head out your butt and let's speed up this timeline. Miss D.
Yes.
What about you?
So I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit. One of the big things that I wanted to be was a fighter pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, even with wanting to be a fighter pilot, and I mean, I desperately wanted to be a fighter pilot, I had never been on a plane. I took my first plane ride in 2018.
Good God Almighty.
Yeah. I love to fly, but
Yeah.
yeah, I took my first flight 2018. But as a younger child, I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a lot of things. The one thing not the one thing, but one of the things that my mother always did nurture in me and my three brothers is that sense of imagination and creativity, because that was nurtured in her. So having that ability to kind of really explore my options, or not necessarily options, but my likes. I was supported in that. So yeah, I had that opportunity to have those big dreams. But again, life takes its turns.
Boy, does it. Oh my God, boy,
Mhm.
does it. I would say for me, um, it was. I had such an imagination that I there was nothing that I can really nail down. I can't really nail down one thing. Um, I definitely wanted to be in the military. That was one thing I definitely wanted. I also wanted crazy thing about it. I wanted to be a director. I wanted to be able to direct. Whether it was television shows or movies or anything like that. I wanted to be a director. Um, which is crazy to me. Which is one of the reasons why I ended up going to college and going into communications, specifically studying television production. But the one thing I really wanted, I would say one thing, if there was one thing I wanted above all that, be a musician. I've been a drummer since I was 10, and that's all I wanted to do for a long time. And I still play. Mainly I play for churches and stuff, but for a little bit there, when I was in college, I got to play in a local band, which was cool. It was really cool. It was somewhat like living out that dream. I mean, I wasn't selling out Madison Square Garden or anything, but I mean, it was a fun crowd. And I always wanted to expand on my musician skills. So I wanted to learn how to play electric guitar, lead guitar, bass guitar, and I could play both of them a little bit. I mean, it's not like Jimi Hendrix, Star Spangled Banner, or anything like that. I'm not like Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. But it said this dang child's beating on my door like she's ice. Anyways, God dang, make sure I had my papers on me. Um, had me shook for a second. Like, dang, do I got my papers on me? Anyways, that's nothing. It really is not. It's not. I have to joke about it because if not, I get mad. But anyways, no, seriously, a musician probably was up there, but most times I don't talk about it much because I've been playing drums for a long time. So like I said, I've been playing since I was 10 years old. Played for my dad's church, played for multiple churches all over the place. Every once in a while, I like to mix. It's fun to watch people look at you at like a Pentecostal church or some type of church, where you're playing and they get a hint of like rock in their drums. They're like, what? Like, it's always fun to get that look. You're like, yeah, I did that. But yeah, that was my thing. Like I always wanted to do that. And like I said last night, um, I even wanted to, act, become an actor, and stuff. So it's just like I said, but like Miss D, like you said, I mean, life is life. And life, you walk into Starbucks, to go get yourself a mocha cappuccino, and you walk out with a Big Mac. Don't ask me how I got to McDonald's. Um, but I mean, you get you might walk into life or someplace looking to do one thing, and you come out doing something completely different. Or you meet somebody that changes your path that you were on. Whether that's you meet your significant other, you have children, you end up finding a love for a different type of career that you end up going down the path. It's you never know, and like I said, Forrest Gump said it best when he talked about the box of chocolates, because you never know what you're going to get. Technically, that's not true because they have a thing on the back that actually tells you what's in them. So actually, I never understood that. Anyways, we're gonna I digress from that. Um, so yeah, so if you had to ask somebody else that same question, or if you had to give somebody advice, when asking that same question about me going back to in time and meeting the 10-year-old you, what kind of advice would you give somebody on that? We'll start with you, Misty.
If I had to give some, it's kind of easy because I have, my youngest is going to be 15, so I kind of equate it to, giving her advice. I just remind her to be herself, and
Mhm.
she will attract the people to her like that will support her. And there's something that even now in my 45 years of life that I have learned this past year that I'm really trying to instill in her and pretty much anybody that I care about is I will no longer cut myself into smaller, more digestible pieces for other people. You take me as I am, or you can leave
Mm-hmm.
or choke on it.
Love it.
And I have been that way with my children, and they can walk in their truth and be strong in their truth and in their journey. And whatever it is that they find passion in, I will support them.
I like it. Love it. I love that. Mace Valor, how about you?
So this is like us talking about visiting our past selves and the advice and whatnot.
Yeah, you can answer in that form
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I would kick him. I would beat the shit out of him. He hasn't done anything yet, but he's about to do things in the future, and I need to put the fear of God in that little bastard. It's not child abuse, it's self-harm, so it works.
Um,
No, like, all right. Let's see. What
definitely one
like
way of looking at it. Jesus.
No, all right. So jokes aside, though, like what information could I advise and give to my younger self to lead them into a better direction? I mean, Dee's answer is really good. Like, I think that as we get older, we start to reflect back on how we've interacted with the world around us, and a lot of regrets that we have are the relationships that we invested so much in that we got little in return from. Um, and yeah, it's like the old saying, it's like, oh, you do things to be nice without expecting something in return. But like people take advantage of that notion, and it's something like with my own kids. And when they have friendships and relationships, I try to impart this wisdom. It's like, don't invest too much in this so much right out the gate. Like this mutual trust and respect has to be earned over time. You can't just give it all at once because then people recognize the pattern and take advantage of it. And my own kids barely listen to that advice. But so I know me, my past self, I would have a hard time listening to it. But yeah, I think for me, it would be to just put less stock the into the musings of others. Like as I've gotten older, I care less and less about what other people think of me. But when I was a kid, that was a very big thing. So I think the number one piece of advice, the one that I give to my kids now, that I would try to knock into my younger self is to realize like a lot of these things that people say that affect you, that you're not going to see them in a few years. I maybe talked to one or two people that I knew from high school. You know, my you know, I have the one childhood friend that I grew up with, but he lives in Indonesia now. So it's like,
Jeez.
over time, life changes, you know, and you're not going to be around the same circle of people. So why are you going to care about what these people say when, like, in a very short amount of time, you're not going to see them again?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's facts. I mean, at that time, you're like, oh, we're gonna be friends forever. Nothing lasts forever. That's just sorry, people. It is what it is. People grow older. Just like your taste buds, things change. I used to love raisins as a kid. I will slap the taste out of somebody if they freaking put a raisin near me. Now, so yeah, I hate raisins. So if you're
What
that Karen
happened?
out,
What happened?
I don't
Raisins are
know.
delicious.
I don't know, bro. Like literally, I used to eat them all the time as a kid. I used to get those little boxes of the raisins with the red box of raisins and everything. I used to eat them all the time as a kid. You know, ate them all, you know, through middle school, high school, went to college, came back. It's probably the liquor. Came back. Somebody gave me a box of raisins. I think when I was, a matter of fact, it was after I got to drum. And there was like, it was like a snack pack or something. It was like, hey man, you want some raisins? Like, yeah, cool. I went to go bite it into it. I was like, yeah. Spit that sucker out. And then I was like, well, maybe it's just those. So I went to the store and bought like a little thing of raisins. And no, I just can't stand them. Can't stand them. I don't know what happened. Know what it is. That's just like me with cats. I was allergic to cats my entire childhood. I used to get near one, my eyes would swell up. Sometimes my throat would almost close up. And then when I got in the military, probably all the stuff they shot us up with before our deployments. Next thing I know, I'm no longer allergic to cats. So yeah. So no, I get that. Now, for me to really answer that question, I need to ask another question, and we're going to end tonight's episode on this question. And this is a question I'll ask a version of this question. Usually in any type of counseling I'm doing, or kind of depending on what the counseling is. But if it's like couples counseling or somebody, doing some type of whatever counseling or is asking for advice, I usually ask a form of this question. So the question we're going to end tonight's recap on is going to be this one, and I want everybody to really, really consider this one. And this is one that we sometimes tend to do, depending on the person. We might do this a lot. We might do this in small doses, but we tend to do this, and this is called the regret audit. Okay, so this is called the regret audit. There's a famous quote that people regret the things they didn't do more than the things they did do. Looking back, is there a regret or just a fact of life? How do you make peace with that? I'll read that again. There's a famous quote that people regret the things that they didn't do more than the things that they did. Looking back, is this a regret or just a fact of life? How do you make peace with that? So, you want to start us off, Miss D, or you want to go to Mace first?
Go ahead and go to Mace first, because
Okay.
I have something to say, but I have to figure out how I'm going to say it.
Okay, knock it out.
Oh yeah, this is an interesting one because for me it's kind of flipped. When I was younger, in young adult life, moving on, like I was focusing on a lot of the things that I missed out on, the avenues I didn't go down. But then as
Right.
I've gotten older, like I regret more the things that I have done. But to be more specific, it's the interactions I've had with other people in my life. Like I've changed a lot over the years. Like I'm still fundamentally me, but I've changed in the sense where I can actually reflect back on how my interactions have affected other people, whether it be just a friendship or a romantic relationship. Here's one. There's a girl that I dated in Korea. We were never going to end up together. It was kind of one of those relationships that you have while you're there, and it was a time in my life where I probably shouldn't have been in a relationship. It was my last year in the army, I just wanted to drink with my buddies and just enjoy my time before I came back stateside. So, I mean, I wasn't like abusive or anything, but I was very neglectful. And for her, it's like she put a lot of love and care into the relationship, but I obviously didn't because she was new to the army. She was older than me, but she was new to the army. It was her first duty station. And, you know, it's like looking back and reflecting that on that interaction, it's like I was definitely not the best boyfriend for her. If you think about it, I provided her all the red flags that she needed to eventually find the right guy. So, you know, justify it as I will. But yeah, looking back, that's what it's things like that that I regret more. It's like how my own involvement in my behavior have led to actions and decisions that have affected the lives of people around me, especially people like her, for example, that legitimately actually cared about me.
Yeah. Are you good, Miss D?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to kind of flip it a little bit from
Okay.
what Mace just said. Growing up and going through a lot of, you know, the traumas and what people would call mistakes in my life, as a younger person, I regretted so much. I mean, I shared some of my story with you guys last night between losing my child and then dealing with addictions. You know, multiple marriages, you know, relationship issues. And if you had asked me the same question 10 years ago, I would have told you, you know, the things that I did regret. But going through everything and filtering through them as an older adult, I regret nothing. Everything that I have said, done, every step that I have taken has built me to where I am today. And I like me. I like the life that I have built. I like the tribe that I have gathered. I like the home that I have. I am comfortable in my own skin now. And I regret none of it.
I love it. I love both of those answers because I'm somewhere in between. Hmm. I regret how I conducted myself in quite a few relationships that I've had. And when I say relationships, it's not just romantic relationships. It's friendships, relationships I had with family members. The time I wasted not spending more time with, even though I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, I wish I'd spent more time. I wish I got more wisdom from her. My godfather, who was at that time the closest thing I ever had to a grandfather, because my dad's father passed away when he was only a year old. And then I really didn't know my mom's father that well because we didn't really see him. I think I can vividly remember seeing him twice, other than his funeral. And I don't even know if I actually went to his funeral. But I've lost a lot of people throughout my life, from an early age, even till now. One of my best friends, other than my grandmother, who I met back in 2013. That was Coach Bill Hansen, who was my coaching mentor. And me and him built such a strong bond over a short period of time that it was just unbelievable, you know. And when he passed, it hurt. It was a huge void that was left, and it slowly has started to fill. And I regret not spending more time with him, not getting more wisdom, not taking in more. I can sit there and say, I can go back and read, past relationships, and things with my children. But that's not just a me thing. In that situation, there's more than just myself that's involved in that. And sometimes with me, I would much rather pull back and not let there be let there not be an issue for my children, so that way they can at least have somewhat of a normal life, than for it to be such a pushback between myself and the mother that it causes an issue for the child. Now some people say, well, you still should try this. Well, first of all, you didn't live the darkness I lived. And how I react to certain things would not be good for the child at all. Do I like it? No, I don't. It's something I've worked very hard on, and I'm trying to get better. But the only things I regret is just the only one thing I regret, really, truly, is not asking for help sooner. When I was going through everything I was going through, instead of turning to alcohol, instead of turning to drugs, I wish I would have turned to someone and really, truly got the help I needed. Because I could have saved a lot of time and possibly a lot of relationships. Some that I've worked very hard to repair, and they're a lot better now. But still, it could have been a lot better in the beginning. But there's nothing I can do about that now, other than continue to work, continue to get better, continue to show that I am working to get the help and continue to get the help. But I'm like Miss D, when it comes to pretty much almost everything else in my life, I don't regret much because of who I am. Because I went through all that, because I screwed up all those relationships, I now have the compassion and the understanding to know how to be able to forgive someone, truly forgive somebody, if the shoe is on the other foot. Because we can talk about forgiveness, we can talk about all those things that make us, good people, good, compassionate people, but living it is completely different. It's hard to be able to do something or go through something like that and forgive someone at the same time. But because of those trials and all the trials and tribulations, if I get biblical here, that I went through, has made me into who I am now. And it's made me into a man that I can do my best and do better at teaching my children and my grandchildren that there is a better path, and that you are going to make mistakes because you are human. And the only person that ever walked this earth that was perfect was Jesus Christ. And you saw what the people did to him. On that note, we're going to end this recap. I don't want to get too heavy here, but we're going to end this recap. I definitely appreciate my co-host, Miss D, Mace Fowler. I know Bambi had some things going on, so she was not going to be able to join. I do ask you to keep your thoughts and prayers, good vibes, and good energy in the direction of my other two co-hosts, Def Light and Ace. Make sure you check on your people. All right, make sure we're checking on each other because sometimes we're going through things and we don't want to talk about it. I'm one of them, and I can put on a good face and come out here and make everybody else laugh, but as soon as that camera turns off, it's me and my thoughts. So make sure you're checking on each other, and don't get so bullheaded with yourself. Not to take some time to say, you know what, I need to take a step back and gather myself and get myself, make sure I'm good. Don't be so bullheaded that you think you can't do that. I love you guys. Okay, so as we're getting up, hold on. Let me do this first. Okay, so don't forget that we'll be back Monday for the Conspiracy Files production meeting. You thought I was going to tell you an episode? No. We're doing a production meeting, a live production meeting, Monday that's usually the time we usually take off for the week. So I decided, hey, let's try it out. Let's see how it works. And if it works pretty good, then we'll keep doing that. So we're gonna be doing a production meeting Monday, regular time, 6 p.m. Central Time. So definitely come on by and join us for that. This is where you get an opportunity as the audience to be able to see what we kind of do behind the scenes when we're actually playing out these shows. But more importantly, you also get the opportunity to help us plan out these shows. So I really look forward to these types of things. So definitely, if you get a chance, especially for that one, come by and see us. Go to Riverside Studio, riverside.fm/studio/Birdman's -studio, riverside.fm/studio/Birdman with an S at the end -studio. Like I said, it's going to be Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time. So definitely, like I said, if you get a chance, come in studio, join us for that. I will probably go ahead because I want people to come join. So we'll definitely probably still be on YouTube. Just go to YouTube at TBS 216, and then of course we'll be on Rumble at Birdman Show. I would like to get to the point where we can draw everybody into the studio. I would much rather do that because, like I said beforehand, I was just talking to my co-host. I didn't put that on. Wasn't saying that live, but the production value of it, like there's certain things I can't do in the live studio that I can do in the editing studio. So like adding the actual startup menu that I normally use, using like the music that like Shiloh and Itzy have created for us, like where I was on for Restream, I can't do in the live studio because it only lets me like upload a certain amount for a file. And so I would have to seriously cut those down, which I can do, but I'd prefer not to if I can. All those are loaded up in the editing studio, so I have no problem. I can load up as much as I want to in the editing studio. So what's going to happen? Like what I do this when we get out of here, just like I did on our. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's 2 different podcast playlists. One podcast playlist has over 100 and I want to say 85. With this one, I think it'll be 186 videos. I think this is what it is on that podcast one. So pretty much most of all of our episodes that we've done over the last 7 seasons. And then there's another one that has only 11. And the reason why that is because the one that has 11 is actually connected to this studio. So whenever I get done, I just click a thing to share and it shares it to that podcast. So they're both on our YouTube channel. And it does the same thing with our Spotify as well. So there's actually 2 different Birdman Show podcast Spotify channels as well. Wasn't intending it to be that way, but eventually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to migrate everything over to the one that's connected to the studio. So that way it's easier. Everything just gets migrated over there at the end of the show. And there's nothing extra I have to do because Riverside will actually distribute everything for us. Like I said, we're also on iHeartRadio. We're also on Google Podcasts as well as Apple Podcasts. So you can listen to us just about anywhere. So that's the cool thing about that. I don't think there's anything else. There's no other housekeeping, I don't think. So like I said, yeah, we got Monday, we got that, the live production meeting. Wednesday, we'll be back for another Birdman Show episode. Is that a You Be the Judge?
I don't have an idea. I wasn't part of those production
it is.
schedules.
So You Be the Judge. So we'll have a You Be the Judge next Wednesday. So Death Light will be back for that. Might as well just get yourself scheduled for Wednesday there, Miss D. Mace, you're always welcome to come by. If you've never seen a You Be the Judge episode, it's actually kind of fun. All Death Light does is she reads court cases to us from a book that she has. Gives us all the information from it, or the information that's in the book. It's not all the information. So she gives information that's in the book. We have to listen to the testimonies, the evidence, and then at the end, of course, we use the audience as the jury members, and then at the end we render our verdict. She reads off what the possible verdicts are, and in most cases, either first degree murder, second degree murder, manslaughter, um, or not guilty, or something like that. So we have to tell her what we think it is, and then after that, then she tells us what it actually is. Let's just say a couple times, my blood was boiling afterwards. So yeah. We might have to do an episode on the court systems. They would really come after us then. Anyways, we want to thank you guys very much for joining us for this recap edition. I got to hear from my co-host one more time before we get up out of here. Ms. D, what are your final thoughts for this recap and this week in general?
I think we've said it several times over. Be good to each other, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. Make sure you're good to yourself first.
Amen to that. Mace, what about you, brother?
Oh, you know me, the same thing as always. Everything's a lie. But yeah, we should be good to each other. As the world burns, the empire crumbles, we, the people, must come together and love one another. Because the establishment wants us to be divided. They want us to enjoy our bread and circuses and not pay attention to Oz pulling the strings behind the curtain. It's time that we all come together and sing Kumbaya or some shit.
There's that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining. We really do appreciate you guys. And like I said, we'll see you guys next Monday. Next Monday. Or just Monday. We'll see you guys Monday for the freaking, God dang it, what are we doing? Production meeting for Conspiracy Files. Good God Almighty, I'm ready to go to bed. But like I said, for Mace Valor, for Miss D, for Deathlight and Ace, I am the Birdman. This has been the Birdman Show recap. We'll see you guys later. Thank you very much. You know what to do, so why don't you go do ahead and do it with us so we get up out of here. Birdman Show out. All right.
A lot today. Remember, when you dive into the dark, you gotta bring your own light. Welcome to the sanctuary.
The headlines fade and the noise dies down. We sitting with the shadows in the middle of town. We analyze the motive, we traced every track, but now it's time to take our own peace of mind back. See, the world gets heavy with the stories we spin, from the cold-blooded killers to the state that we in. But inside the flock, yeah, the air is clean. We filtering the toxins out of the machine. Keep your wings up, gliding over the static, turning tragic into magic. Yeah, the flow is automatic. It's the Birdman wisdom rising out of the grave. We acknowledge the night, but we living for the day. Yeah, we living.
Yo, they say curiosity killed the cat, but that's a lie. It's the silence that hurts that makes the spirit dry. So we talk it out loud, put the shame on the shelf. Real conversations are the wealth of your health. From the silliness to serious, we bridge that gap. More than just a show, fam, more than just a rap. It's a lifeline thrown in the ocean of grief, searching for the answers but finding relief. Oh,
Bring the laughter in,
let it breathe.
let the healing begin.
We don't leave.
We saw the worst of the worst, looked it right in the eye. Now we lifting up our heads, watching clouds pass by. So keep it, yo, we lifting up our heads. watching clouds pass by. So keep your wings up, gliding over the static, turning tragic into magic. Yeah, the flow is automatic. It's the Birdman wisdom rising out of the grave. We acknowledge the night, but we living for the day. Birdman show. Beat slowly. Real people. Rest easy. Fly. We'll catch you on the next flight. Truth unfolds. Truth unfolds.